Hello everyone and welcome to the next in our series of daily origami for YouTube. Today we're going to continue with our traditional origami and we're going to make a basket with a handle today. If you haven't done anything for Valentine's Day yet and you needed something to do really quick, this is a cute little project and you can put some flowers or goodies, chocolates and such inside. This basket can be used for so many other times a year just depending on the kind of paper you use. Certainly coming here close to Easter later on in the spring, this would be a great project for that time as well. For this particular project, you do need 2 pieces of origami paper, and we're going to be using 15 by 15 centimeter paper. And like I said, you need 2 pieces. If you want to make the basket one color and the handle another, that's fine. But there is no scissors or glue in this at all. You just use the paper, fold it up, and then you tuck it and connect it so that you don't need to have any kind of glue involved, which is nice. So I'll show you guys what to do here. We're going to start off first with 1 piece of paper here to make our basket. Now I'm going to go ahead and start off with a square base for this. So for example, with the color side facing up here, I can make my diagonal creases first by just folding in half to make a big triangle. Smooth it out. Open it up and do the same thing going the other way too, so you get both of those diagonal creases meeting in the center to tell us where the middle is. Then looking at the white side, go ahead and fold it in half horizontally and vertically as well. And that'll give us all the creases we need to get to the square base. Once you've gotten those creases, look at the color side. Just pinch on opposite sides and kind of bring things together. Shimmy it around and smooth it out until you get 2 flaps on each side to give you this nice little diamond shape or a square base, which is where the name comes from. Once we've gotten all of that, turn it around so that those open flaps are on the top. And I'm going to take the flap that you see here and open it all the way down to the bottom. Smooth it out really good. Flip it over, do the same thing on the other side too. So get that nice and marked off here. Take the flap we just folded down and fold it right up to the edge that we just made, there in the middle. Flip it over, do the same thing on the other side as well. So we're going to stop with the basket part for a second because we want to make the handle so we can attach and fold things together to keep them connected. So I can just kind of put this to the side and get my other piece of paper out. It's the same size. And what we're going to do with this is with the, depending on the color of handle you want, I want to actually make my handle red, so I'm just going to keep my color side facing down. And we're going to fold everything in half here to find where the center is. Open it up, and then we're going to do a door base by taking each of these outer edges and folding it into the center. That nice and lined up and smooth it out. Then I'm going to take everything and fold it into the center again. Get a good crease there. Fold this way as well. Nice and lined up there as much as you can. And then for the last little bit, just fold in half right there in the middle. So we get this nice, really sturdy strip of paper. Now, if you are running low on paper or you don't have a full square, you could certainly use just a strip of paper here if you wanted to, but you'd need scissors, of course, to cut it down. If you're trying to be just pure with your origami, then this is the way to get to a handle, and it's nice and strong, which is good. So after we've gotten that all completed, I'm just going to fold things in half here so you can go ahead and create a nice little piece. And don't worry too much about that crease, but we do just need to fold it in half to help us with the folds later. So that gives us our handle. And we can bring back to the basket here and now connect these. What we can do is take the handle and put it up here so that these points that you see kind of hit right up in the middle there. And then make sure that that flap lays on top. And then you also want to make sure things are as centered as you can get them. You want to try to keep everything kind of lined up good in the middle there. There is no crease, so you're just going to need to kind of eyeball this, but you do want to try to kind of imagine having equal parts on either side so you can kind of get a good balance for your handle. Once you've got both of those there, then I can take this bottom part down here and I'm going to fold this paper up to the flap that you see here. And while I do that, I'm going to include the little bit that I've got here of a handle. Now it's very thick, so you want to kind of take a second to kind of smush it and roll it with your fingers as you do this so that you can pinch at the right point to include that with this crease, because this is really what's going to make everything stick for you later. So kind of try to adjust things to get everything lined up there and also include that crease with it. And you can kind of see through all of this, it included about half of this space worth of that in this crease when I did that. I'm just going to repeat those steps on this side too, and you can see that part popped out actually when I did that. Just keep it underneath and keep everything nice and tight, kind of roll it, get the paper to smooth out as you do this so you can kind of bring it up there. And it is really thick, but you want to try to get as good a crease on that as you can because this is what's going to keep everything connected. So I've got the handle there sort of snug, and now I want to take the sides here and fold them backwards. And sometimes that can be a little tricky because the handle's in the way. One thing you can do first is to just create the crease and then just reverse it. What we want it to do is go right through this point where the red is, so you can kind of get an idea of where that is. It should actually bring the tip right to that little bit that you see behind there of that other side's point, and when we folded the flap up. So you kind of use that as a guide. Get the crease going first, then just reverse it, and it goes so much smoother that way because it's kind of hard to do all by yourself without having it get in the way of all of this stuff here. So I'll do the same thing on this side too. Again, just folding in to the center. You can use that little bit there that's a guide as we do this. Kind of try to keep things parallel with everything as you do this. And then just fold everything back. Then we're just going to turn it over and repeat those steps on this side too. Good crease on that, and then reverse it. Do the same side. Get all of that folded back. Then we're going to go ahead and take these little flaps that we see here, and I essentially want to kind of open things up. Now, I don't want to put any creases in the handle if I can help it, but what I want to do is pull this part out, and I'll be creating new creases that line up right with these two edges by just reversing everything. So you can kind of get this valley crease here to become a mountain as you're looking at it from underneath. Actually from the top it's just the reverse of that. We're just getting a good grip on that first and then pulling it straight down. Bring that tip right down to the bottom of everything here. Bring that all the way down. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side too. So we're just kind of pulling that flap out, kind of allowing a little of this to open so that you can get this to come down. Reverse it and give it a good tuck until it can get nice and snug down here. Trying to get an edge that's as even with everything up here at the top as you can. Now as a last little bit, we're going to put a crease right along the bottom so that we know where the bottom of our box is going to be, or a basket I should say. So I can just kind of fold up to those edges as much as you can, get a little crease going there. And if you want, you can choose to reverse that the other way too, so that you can kind of get good creases going both ways to help you along as you open up the basket here. But you should be able to get all of that kind of completed, and then we can take everything here and just gently open it from the inside and kind of make sure that these edges are really nice and popped out. And that should give you a nice little basket, and you can get those parts to flap out at the top. Then you can go ahead and keep your basket sharp like this if you want, or of course you can smooth everything out and roll it out so that you get more of a rounded kind of handle there at the top. Now these flaps you can choose to do a lot of different things with. If you want to, you can leave them down. Use a bit of glue if you want to use glue, and that will give you sort of this nice kind of double color for everything. Now we don't want to necessarily use glue. You can leave them out like this and then kind of use them to help cover whatever you put inside. So if you're putting some chocolates or something like that, goodies inside here, we just reverse this and then you let this just rest right on the top of everything, depending on how you're using this, of course. So we just open that flap and just reverse it so that it goes inside. Now you can leave it right on top so that it kind of serves, you can kind of let things just rest on top as it serves sort of like the napkins or something that you'd use in a picnic basket, for example. It can kind of cover what's inside. Or you can push things all the way down inside, kind of like a box. Just pinch here and give a good crease right along that bottom part so that things stay tucked down, and you can keep everything down low here so that you get a nice finished basket that looks something like this, where these 2 points kind of meet in the middle, and then you can put things inside from here. So lots of different ways you can kind of approach it, but that gives you sort of a finished basket then. Now that you know the dimensions for this little guy, the base box itself is just a little bit more than 5, about 5.3-ish squared. So that's the base. The depth, if you're looking to put something of a specific size in here, is about 2.5. That way, if you're using the option of keeping your flaps over, you know how big you can have something with that sticking out from the top. Overall, the height, like to the handle there, is about 6.5 centimeters tall. That kind of gives you an idea of the finished product there with your little handle. Now if you didn't like, for example, how thick the handle was, you could fold it in half again. Of course you'd have a lot of paper involved then, but if you wanted to make a more narrow kind of handle, you could. But that should give you your completed little basket, which is our finished project for today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.